Welcome back, and welcome to the body video. In this video, we're gonna learn to make a body just like this. Now, there are a ton of different styles of puppet bodies. In this video, I'm gonna show you a simple method to make a body for this puppet that we've already started. If you need to make a body that has a very specific shape, you can actually use the same pattern making technique that we used to make the head for this character. You can link to that video right here. The pattern making technique we're gonna use today is drafting. So we're gonna draw it out on a piece of paper. Start off making a vertical line, and we need to mark it at about 11 inches. And I'm gonna make long horizontal lines at each mark. Then I'm going to measure out 4 inches from each side and mark it on the top and bottom, and then connect those lines. And then draw a line 2 inches from the top line. And this one I want to mark 5 inches from the center line on both sides. So just to be clear, this line should be 10 inches from this point to this point, 8 inches from here to here on the top and bottom, and 11 inches tall. Now I'm going to connect these with diagonal lines. And that's pretty much our pattern. I'm just going to smooth out some of these edges and then cut out around this edge. And there's our puppet body pattern. So this is our puppet body pattern. It's a pretty basic shape. I'm going to show you how to put it together now. If you have a printer at home, you can actually print this pattern out from my website like this. When you print it out, it comes in 2 pieces and you have to glue it together on the dotted line. The foam we used for the head is only 1/2 inch thick. But for this body pattern, I found that a 1 inch thickness works best. I order my foam from foamonline.com, and I use the dry fast foam and a medium firmness. You must be in a well-ventilated area when using contact cement. It's a good idea to wear gloves too. Now we're going to take our body pattern and trace it out on the foam. For 1/2 inch foam, I usually use scissors, but once you get thicker than that, it's good to use a razor blade. But be careful. Using a razor blade helps you get clean edges. It's also a little faster. Okay, now that we have these pieces all cut out, let's glue them together. To glue them, I use a contact cement. A lot of puppeteers use barge, but I can get this locally, so Masters is what I use. The glue goes around these 3 edges. You don't have to put it on the bottom. Go ahead and evenly spread the glue around the edges. After gluing, wait about 10 minutes for it to get tacky. I like to start off by pressing them together this way. Make sure they're nice and even, and firmly press them in so you have a nice good bond. I'll turn it over to the side here and line up those bottom 2 edges. And then I'll line up these bottom edges. Okay, so right now it's looking like this. And you want to evenly press this together all the way around. And there we have our foam body. Now let's cover it with fleece. So the fleece we're going to use is a nylon fleece. A lot of people call it Antron fleece. Now this fleece has a lot of stretch one way and a lot less stretch the other way. We want to use it the way with the stretch. So I'm going to lay the fabric out, but I'm actually going to fold it over so it's doubled up. That way I only need to trace the pattern once. I'll lay the pattern out and trace around it. So I'm going to stitch this on the sewing machine. Because I'm stitching it in the sewing machine, I don't need to cut it out yet. It's easier to cut it out after. Alright, it's all stitched up. So I just stitched around this edge and I left a small amount of seam allowance all the way around. Now I'm going to cut around it. Don't cut too close to your stitch line. Now let's draw a neck hole on this body. Let me bring it in a little closer. Now when you draw the neck hole, you want to make it about 3 inches down from the center, which is probably about right there. Okay? See that? And now I'm going to make the neck hole about the size of the neck of our puppet that we made last week. If you look here, it's more on the front than it is in the back, almost like the neck hole of a t-shirt. Now I'm going to cut that out. So just like that, our neck hole is now cut out and it's starting to look more like a puppet we'd be able to perform. So now let's put the fleece cover over it. covered, you can kind of feel where that neck hole is. And you want to make little cuts around it so you can put your hand through. Now what you want to do is take this edge and tuck it inside the neck and then glue it to the inside of the foam. You could use hot glue for this, but I like to use fabric tack. You'll want to glue the inside of the bottom too. Make sure you have the front of your puppet, not the back. You can tell because the neck hole on the front side is a little lower. Choose a neck length that you feel works for your character, and then pin it in. I think that works pretty well for this guy. Let's stitch it in. And here's our puppet with his body. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. In the next video, we'll be doing some finishing techniques. We'll give him arms, hair, ears, and other features. That's it for now. See you next time.